Hello. I'm excited to be here once again. Actually, what I'm going to talk about right now just came to me, I think last night or maybe even this morning. And I'm excited to share what's been on my heart. It's kind of crazy for me because when I look at my life, I'm like, this is bananas. And sometimes I don't even believe like where I am in life. As when I looked at the juxtaposition to the goals and dreams that I've been working in my business for well over a decade. And I've been grinding it out in life, trying to get to a place of where I felt like, okay, there's an accomplishment for the better part of 20 years. And so to sit at the seat that I'm sitting in right now is like, it's super powerful. But the other thing is, I still have big goals and dreams. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because what I know that happens with high achievers is we push goals and we often create this gap that doesn't really exist, that makes us feel like we're not accomplishing anywhere near what we're capable of. And we get what I call success amnesia, and we literally don't celebrate our successes along the way. And that was me for a very, very long time until I started doing what I'm going to share with you today and talk to you about today. So lean in, listen. It may trigger you a bit to hear some of the things I say. Someone told me last week, we had a conversation, and they said, you make everything sound so simple. And it's because I've gotten to the point, well, one, it's a gifting of mine to simplify things. That's the first thing. But I've gotten to the point in my life, I used to make everything so hard because it was grilled into me that hard work is what creates success. So it can't be easy. You got to grind it out to make it work. And when I realized that it gets to be easy, that it gets to be simple, what I do is I strip away all of the extra things that you don't necessarily have to create the level of success, wealth, the business that you desire, the life that you desire, and just focus on what really matters, which is very simple, straightforward, intentional steps and action that creates and yields big results. And so a lot of what I say may seem oversimplified, but if you can just take a step and take a breath, you'll realize in your knower, you'll connect with something inside of you that says, it's a yes for me. It's a yes for you. Like it makes sense. And if you can follow the simplicity of it all instead of overcomplicating it, you'll get where you're trying to go so much faster. So today, we're going to talk about activating the frequency of millions. This isn't a frequency kind of class, but what I want you to understand is that everything that you want, it resides on a resonance and on a level of frequency. If you don't know this, many, many years ago, scientists did a study because they wanted to figure out when you break down matter or particles and you break down an atom into the smallest particle that you can find where there's almost nothing left. They wanted to see what is all things in life made up of. And what they found when they got there was actually a sound wave. Blows my mind every time. And I actually heard this story in church. And it shifted me forever. I was probably about 27, 28 years old. And I was like, so it's like 20 years ago, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I truly believe that God spoke the world into existence. And if everything is made up of atoms, and when you break down an atom, you find a sound wave, that's super powerful. What that tells me, though, is that sound waves have vibrations and frequencies. And what that tells me is that everything that exists has its own sound and frequency. I also saw, it was a video many years ago, maybe about 10 years ago now, where they put these gemstones, different colors, pink, orange, red, blue, white, into like a Plinko chip thing. If anybody ever watched Price is Right, my grandmother was an avid Price is Right fan. She watched it all the time. She would go down almost every day at one particular time to get on the show. She had been on the show at least once or twice. I'd been in the studio audience a few times. So in my family, the Price is Right was like an incredible journey. So they have the Plinko chips where you drop them in and then it lands in like whatever the price is. So this video was the same, but it was gemstones. And so they took these gemstones and they dropped them into this like Planko plastic thing. And here's what happened. Another mind-blowing thing. And I'm setting the tone for this because I want you to understand that I'm not this crazy girl who just read a book somewhere and thought like, oh, let's start talking about frequency. I've had all of these examples in my life that just kept anchoring in like, there's truth to this, there's truth to this. And so now I want to share what I've learned and what I've embodied, because I've taken these truths and used them in my own life to create the types of results that I create for myself and that I help my clients to create. So back to the Planko story. So these gemstones were dropped in, and here's what happened as they're dropped in. Didn't matter what side you dropped them in. They just dropped them all in at the same time. They were all mixed up. And when you look at this video, I'm going to have to find it and post it. All the whites ended up in the whites. Doesn't matter if the white was dropped from the left side or the right side. It did not matter. When all the whites ended with the whites, all the blues ended with the blues, all the reds ended up with the reds, all the pinks with the pinks, all the yellows with the yellows, all of that, purples with purples. The similar colors ended up in the same slot. What they were proving is that like attracts like, that frequency, they can feel each other, and then they're connected there. So if you were listening to me last week when I did my training, The Courage to Make Millions, I shared that your $25,000 month, your $50,000 months, your $100,000 months, they aren't goals at all. They're not destinations to get to, which is what most people are trying to do. They're actually energetic frequencies that you need to calibrate to, right? So the goal is not to hit them or get to them, but to calibrate to them, to be on the same frequency so that you have no choice but to end up in the same little plastic pocket with it, just like the little gemstones. So each frequency of $25,000 months, $50,000 months, $100,000 months, $1 million months, as your girl here has had the ability to experience, holds a very specific resonance. And if you're not yet experiencing it yet, you're not in alignment with that resonance or that frequency. So if you missed that episode, The Courage to Make Millions, you want to go back and check it out because there's some powerful nuggets in there. And that kind of sets us up for where we are today. Today, I want to share some insights on a powerful strategy or a point of view. Let's say that. It's strategic, but it's also a point of view that I use to continue to expand into my next level of wealth. And I actually found a video from about 2016 where this actually began to be anchored inside of me, that it was an important thing for me to do. And the reason why, like I said, I'm a consummate overachieving high achiever. And so before this point, and really in my early 20s into my 30s, I was the kind of person who would set a goal and then do one of two things. I would hit that goal and then pretend like I never hit that goal in the first place and already push the goal line to the next big goal, thus giving myself the illusion that I was not succeeding because I was in a constant state of not accomplishing, not achieving, because I'd go, okay, bam, $10,000 a month. That was great. Now let's do 20, right? Not really anchoring in the success, which creates that feeling of success amnesia, right? It's the illusion that you're not moving fast enough. It's the illusion that you're never going to hit the goal or that you're not hitting the goal. And so around 2016, I got really, really clear that I was creating this feeling of lack of success by not celebrating my wins. And so I want to talk to you today about how I've shifted that and what it means in my life and how you can use this strategy too to start to get yourself in alignment with the resonant frequency of the results that you want to create. Before I do that, I want to do a quick invitation to let you know that I am accepting applications for the next round of Play Big. Now, at the end of this video, towards the end of this episode, I am going to talk in detail about what Play Big is and how you can apply, but I'm just going to do a quick invite right now. If you know that you like some high-level mentorship with me, we're going to take 30 people through this program. 20 seats are already gone. There's 10 left. All you have to do is message me, Shameca, I'm ready to play big. I will then shoot you the application questions. We'll have a back and forth. If you are ready to move on to the next step or qualified to play the game with us, I will send you some more details and then we'll get you enrolled into the program to play with us. on the up and up. I'm straight up about everything. I don't do any loop-de-loops. It's a $10,500 investment. Here's the beautiful thing. Right now, we're pretty early. We don't start until July 29th. So if you come now, there are a couple of bonuses that you'll get. You'll get coaching from me up until the time that we start. So private coaching will be available to you until we start. You'll get a private momentum session with me that will be available to you until we start. And you have the ability to have access to, if you need it, to an extended payment plan. That offer for the extended payment option goes away May 31st. So there's only about 7 days or so for you to take advantage of that. All right. So message me, Shameca, I'm ready to play big. And that is how you get access to the information and the details that you need and getting the application process started. Okay. Now back to this. All right. So leading a company, and I keep saying calibrating. I'm going to look up the word calibration and bring it to the next episode that I do. Calibrating is attuning yourself to a frequency, right? And so leading a company and actually growing myself into the leader that can be a company that, to be a leader that actually has $1 million business, calibrating myself and attuning myself to the frequency of millions wasn't always easy because I had little to no evidence that it could ever be a thing for me. And actually doing it, when I look at it in hindsight, it blows my freaking mind. Every time I looked at somebody else who was succeeding, and I'm going to be blatantly honest here, guys, because there's different reasons why you look at people and decide that you put them on a pedestal, like it worked like that for them for this reason. One of the biggest reasons is I saw a lot of white men, and then next to that, white women who were succeeding at creating $1 million businesses and getting opportunities that I could only dream of getting faster than I ever thought possible. Like they'd be new into the industry and I'd been here for like 7 years and they'd be on for like a year or two and they were speaking on big stages and had all these clients. It's like they just had this believability God that came down and said, okay, this person is believable, so buy all their stuff. And this was the belief that I held. And so it looked like I had little to no evidence of that it was possible to me. There was no one who looked like me. But the truth is, and the truth that I've grown to anchor in my own spirit is that even the tiniest bit of evidence can put your dreams to flight if you know where to look for it and how to use it. So their success wasn't really evidence that I couldn't do it, but I looked at it that way for a long time. Like I would ask myself, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not getting it? What is it about them that lets them be able to do it? So I was looking at myself from a deficit. I was looking at the gap of my success as opposed to the evidence being present for me that I can do it. And when I look back over my journey, I can see how I actually was even closer to making my first million than it even seemed or felt to me at the time, right? If you've ever heard the statistic that only 2% of women business owners ever cross the $1 million mark. So that in itself makes you think, okay, there's only an elite few who do it, right? But here's the kicker for me, even fewer look like me. And when I say look like me, I don't just mean the color of my skin, right? Look at, I got a little afro, it's purple, my nails are all crazy colored. A lot of people who cross the $1 million mark, especially in this industry, they are your classically styled person. They're straight laced, they wear suits, their hair looks all flowy and glowy, and they stand on stages and open their hands like this and do all kinds of stuff. That ain't me, yo. I'm gonna rock my Adidas. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna dye my hair. I'm gonna do what I do, right? And so when I look at me, there is a part of who I be that's very different from most people who operate businesses on the level that I do, which is why it makes it difficult for a lot of you to really even anchor in. There's a dissonance when I say I'm a multi-million-dollar business owner. You're like, it can't be, because you have a thought in your mind about what it even means for you. A person who does that looks like this. They do these things. And so you've created this image of what a multi-million-dollar business owner looks like. And that image sometimes doesn't include the likeness of you. Someone commented on the post that I wrote the other day about evidence, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later about the post, but I just want to share the comment they said is they're looking for evidence of someone who does it consciously like the way that they do, and they don't have enough of it. What I'm going to share today is going to like rip that to shreds because it's what changed the game for me. What changed the game for me, actually, I'll share it a little bit now. What changed the game for me was that I was looking for evidence. And what God told me is, Shameca, you are to become the evidence. That was a game changer for me. And so I want to share this. I was so focused on how to make it happen. And again, the gap between where I thought I was and where I needed to be and who I was and who I needed to be, that sometimes I missed the evidence that was right in front of my face, the tiny, seemingly insignificant evidence that would prove to be a powerful force in my life, and it still is today. I would call them God winks, if you will. Again, so I posted a post a couple of days ago that said, pay attention to the evidence. I promise you are already winning. And you're already winning probably beyond imagination or comprehension. But then again, we set these new goals, right? There's a big, big goal that we want, and it gives us the illusion that we are not. So for the better part of my career, I spent all of that time focused on how I was losing, how I was behind, or how I saw my peers or even new people in the industry start a business and then pass me, like boom to six figures, boom to multiple six figures, boom to millions. And I was like, whoa. And I started feeling some kind of way about it. I kept trying to figure out, what was I doing wrong? Where's the evidence that it could happen for me? And so there's two powerful lessons that I want to share today that I've learned that have changed the game for me, that I hope and pray will be really inspirational to you and something that you can hold on to as you move on your own journey to creating millions in your life and in your business, no matter what level you're at right now. So here's lesson number one. Lesson number one is, it's not because you don't see it or you don't have the how, right? That the how is not present in front of you, or that you don't see your millions in your bank account. It's not in the physical realm yet, that it's not happening. As humans, we are obsessed with evidence, proof. Where's the proof? We're leaning into logic more than anything else. Our logic is super strong. We love to see the proof before we believe in something. Right? It's not enough just to say, just believe. Like, if you have a knowing, believe it. When it's unseen, that's difficult to do because there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years of conditioning that we operate from that says, I need to see it before I can believe it. And if you think about the way things are created in the world, right? I think about this. I'm like, if God spoke the world into existence, it wasn't present until he spoke it. And then things began to line up. Actually, this just came to my mind. I wasn't planning on going here. It's not even in my notes. But if I think about it, in the beginning, God created heaven and the earth was without form, a void. And the darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. And then God said, let there be light. And then there was light. So everything that's been created was created from nothing, created from the unseen. Yet as humans, we want to create from what we see. But what we see is created from what we already have. Everything that comes next has to be created from what you can't see. I hope you caught that. And if you didn't, press rewind and watch it again. So most of the conditioning that we get to operate in this way, even though that's not how the law works, that's not how God works. It happens without you even realizing it. And then you're trying to press a round peg into a square hole. However, here's what I know that I know that I know, and what was present for me. You still know whether you can see it or not, whether those zeros are in your bank account or not, whether the clients are in front of you or not. You still know deep down that what is not yet seen for you is possible, even without any evidence. even if it feels so far-fetched. Like I had a knowing that I could have $1 million business. And literally, I always say $1 million business because that's all. It was so far-fetched, I would only say 1 million. It's a multi-million-dollar business now. But I couldn't go that far because it was so far out of the realm of anything I'd ever seen before. Not that I'd seen other people, but for me. There's no one in my family who's done what I've done. No one. There's no one in close proximity. I have successful people that I can look up to, educated people, but what's tangible in my life right now, there was no hardcore evidence that there was a 6 degree of separation for this for me. But there was this knowing, this understanding that some way, somehow, or I'm going to die trying, like it just felt so real and palpable for me. So even if it seems far-fetched, the evidence is in your soul. It's in your spirit. It's in your knowing. Somehow you just know. You know that you were meant for big things. You know that you have been specifically chosen. And not everyone is born with this knowing. That's the thing. Like when I speak, I'm not speaking to everybody. I have a particular calling to serve a particular type of people, a peculiar type of people. You have been specifically chosen. You have been chosen to unleash the fullest expression of you because it's who you are by God's design. You have been chosen to transform lives. You have been chosen to free past generations and generations to come. You have been chosen to leave legacies. And in doing so, simultaneously, you have been chosen to act as a permission slip in human form for others to do the same. A living, breathing, unending permission slip. And that was the message that I heard that set me free. It freed me. Shameca, you are the evidence that you seek. So I hope you're hearing this. If you're listening under the sound of my voice, you are the evidence that you seek. So celebrate every step of the journey, every win, as if you are already there. I'm going to say that again. You want to celebrate every step of the journey and every single win as if you're already to the end goal that you desire. I had to start celebrating the 3 clients in my program like it was the 300 or the 30. I had to start celebrating the 1 sale as if it were 100 sales. I had to start celebrating the $1,000 as if it were the $1 million. Celebrate as if you're already there. That's how you activate the frequency to actually get there, right? So when you do that, what you're creating is this wave of a compounding frequency of success. Even if they seem small or insignificant, you want to celebrate as if it's the biggest thing. Look at everything that has worked for you so far this year. This is like a little quick assignment I'm going to give you. And what I want you to begin to do is just take note of it all. Take note of it all. And then I want you to go take action to anchor this in and to activate this frequency in your life. Celebrate and anchor it in. Like actually celebrate as if you had just reached $1 million in your business. What would you do? Would you go have dinner? Would you buy yourself something? Do a photo shoot? Like go actually celebrate with that feeling and emotion in the resonant frequency of that $1 million yes. And do that with every win, no matter how small it is. That's the secret. Bring that frequency into your now and hold it so that it intensifies. So holding it in that way again and again and again with every win, because your brain doesn't know what's real and what's fake. It doesn't know you didn't hit $1 million. It just knows the feeling, right? And we want that feeling, that frequency, that resonance of that same thing. What will happen is you will intensify that frequency until you are actually there, until it is actually in your reality. The key to this is to remain connected to that frequency as often as possible, despite the seeming lack of evidence or guarantee of success. If you can do that, you can win at any game, period. Lesson number 2, the evidence is all around me. So I'm seeking it, but I'm not seeking it by looking at the lack of it. I'm looking for any evidence I can hold on to. If I can pull the smallest, tiniest thread of evidence, it will unravel and I'll have more and more, and I'll see more and more and more and more will be revealed to me, right? So the other people succeeding was evidence that it was possible for me. But what was happening is I was looking at it as evidence of my lack of success. You've got to flip that on its head. I thought seeing other people succeed was evidence that I wasn't ready yet, but it actually was evidence that I was. And the missing ingredient was this celebration that I'm talking about, this constant celebrating of every step of the way, even celebrating. So celebrating myself every step of the way. But the second component of this is celebrating their success. You see, celebrating other people's wins instead of begrudging them will put you on the frequency of that win, and it opens up that portal. It opens up an access to that frequency. That's why I'm yelling for everybody, as opposed to like, why does she get to do it? Or what am I doing wrong that I don't have it? See the different energy of, instead of like, yeah, girl, you did that, go. It's elevated. It puts you on the frequency of the trajectory that you're trying to go on. So I learned to not only celebrate myself and my own, and celebrate and look for my own wins, and to focus on those, but also to celebrate the wins of others, even as often, if not more often, as I celebrate myself. Especially when it came into my world. I can't remember the year, but there was a viral video from a Miss America competition where they had the three ladies, the three finalists up there, and they called the name of the person that won. And this one started screaming and yelling and hooping and oh my gosh and clapping. And you would have thought she was the one who won, but she was the runner-up. And her celebration was for her sister, the one who had walked alongside of her in this journey. And I thought to myself, and I still think about that video to this day, if we even realize what that unlocks, if you could lock a smidgen of that in your own life, to where when you see other people win, you're not trying to decode what they're doing or find out why it's them and not you, or start feeling some kind of way about yourself and why people are buying from them and not buying from you, but just genuinely be in the energy of that celebration. It's going to raise your frequency. You're going to come into alignment with whatever that next level is for you more often, and more often. So you will often see me celebrating my clients' wins and celebrating my own wins often. I've been doing this since about 2016, 2015. And a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's just to brag about what your clients did. And why are we only celebrating money? It's because of this frequency thing. What I teach inside of my community and what happens to high achievers is we don't often celebrate because we have actually been groomed to not celebrate ourselves, as not to make other people feel bad. And so we just push our goals aside because we're like, oh, of course you did that. Of course. Oh, well, give other people a chance. Like, of course you're winning. We want to celebrate Tommy who got a C because you always get A's. Right. And so what happens is we don't know how to tap into the frequency of winning, but we know how to tap into the frequency of peak performance. And peak performance says, let's look at what you're not doing well. Let's look at all the gaps you have. Let's focus on what's going wrong and make those better. And what happens is our energy and our focus and our frequency is focused on the lack of success, our focus on what we're doing wrong. And we bring more of that into our lives until we're overwhelmed by it. And it makes us feel like we're never winning. What I want to do when you step into my world, and what I want to encourage you to do right now, is to shift that around and focus on what's going well, no matter how small it is, and bring more of that frequency in your life, and it will elevate you and elevate you and elevate you. And what you'll notice is that your focus will be on more wins and more wins and more wins, again, until that frequency is so resonant that what you truly desire is sitting right in front of you because it feels like you've been celebrating all along. It has no choice but to be attracted to you, period. End of discussion. So What if, this is what I posted the other day, and I want to say it here because all of you didn't see my post on Facebook. So I want to say it here so that it can be on the podcast, that it can be on this live stream, and you can hear it again. What if instead of feeling behind or threatened by the success of others, you celebrate the fact that what's actually happening is that you're an energetic match for evidence that it actually can be done? What I started to realize is the reason why I was seeing all of these people succeeding quicker than I was succeeding, people who were starting businesses at, and in 3 years hitting $1 million. And I was, 7 years into my business and hadn't hit $1 million yet. Not because it was to make me feel bad about not having done it yet. God was like, let me show you how fast you can do this. And eventually I got it. And I've been collapsing timelines ever since, faster and faster and faster. So what you're doing, what you're seeing is not meant for you to question yourself. It's meant for you to see the evidence that it actually can be done. Celebrate that. When you see something, when something comes, you can never see something that you're not ready for. An opportunity that you're not ready for will never show up. When people are like, oh, I don't think I'm ready for this, you would have never known that it existed. You would have blinders on because you're not your frequency is not in alignment with the opportunity. If an opportunity comes, you're ready. The question just becomes, when we talked about the courage to make millions, do you have the courage to step through it? That's the game changer. So you see these types of wins because it's meant to show you that it's possible for you. So here's the thing I want you to try on if you've been feeling stuck at whatever level you're at. I tell you guys this all the time. I have clients who come to me who've been stuck at $500,000, stuck at 700,000 for like 3 years in a row, never crossing to the $1 million mark. So this is not just like stuck, not creating six figures, stuck and don't have clients. I don't care where you're stuck. If you're stuck on the quality or type of clients that you want, it doesn't matter where you're stuck. But if you've been feeling stuck, because no one's ever really stuck, right? But if you've been feeling stuck, I want you to try this on. Rather than pushing and trying to achieve a new level, rather than holding back a celebration because you didn't exactly hit the exact number, right? Or you're not there yet. So I bought myself a pair of shoes for when I hit my first 6-figure month, but right now I'm at 80,000. Instead of doing that kind of stuff, rather than seeing your current level as the lack of growth or the gap between where you want to be, practice celebrating and being in gratitude about the success that you have now created, as if you've already created what's to come. So practice celebrating and being in gratitude about what you've now created, as if you've already created what's to come. I have this thing about me that what's to come is inevitable. Timing is God's business. What's to come is inevitable. My $30 million business is inevitable. Timing is God's business. And it's easy to forget, right? Here's what I want to say to you too. I promise you, you're further, where you are now is further than where you used to be. I'm always reminding my clients of this. It doesn't matter if you don't have a 6-figure month yet. Last year, you didn't have a $10,000 month, and now you're just celebrating a $40,000 month. It's coming. Where you are is further than where you used to be, no matter what that is. And it's easy to forget that when you're surrounded by lots of people, especially on the internet, right? You're surrounded by so many people who seem to be so far ahead or so much further ahead than you. People who have the evidence that you seek and the next level's results that you desire. What I want to encourage you to do is stay present to the wins that you are creating. When I began to do this in 2016, it changed the game for me. Just 3 years ago, we only had 8 people in my mastermind, because I was still kind of in this thing of like, why do other people have hundreds of people in their mastermind and I can't get more than 12? And so still working on this whole like judgment of myself about who I could be in this moment, keeping my programs very small. Today, we have about 55 people in our mastermind, right? And just 3 years ago, there was only 8. That year, so I would say January, February of 2020, there were 8 people in my mastermind. By November, there were 30 something. Stay present to the wins that you are currently creating, not the gap. Otherwise, that which is supposed to serve you powerfully, that God wink that's actually there to serve you, will subtly sabotage. One of the biggest gifts to seeing other people's wins, to being in what I call proximity, which is another powerful tool, it's actually the name of my highest level program, a powerful tool that I've used in my own ascension. And I won't go into it today, but one of the most powerful gifts in that, in other people's wins and being able to see that, is proof. Proof that it is all possible and available to you in your own time and in your own way. That's what you have to lean into. So what you want to do is celebrate where you are. This is how we bring that resonant, higher level frequency up and up and up. Fall in love with the process of becoming, of getting there, instead of loathing it and trying to make it go away. We just want to snap our fingers and be there, right? I'm going to skip all the things. And that can happen, but it only happens from this disposition of I'm in love with the process of getting there. Then you look up and you're like, oh, shoot, it happened like that. Celebrate your journey every freaking step of the way, period, end of discussion. It's one of the greatest gifts that I can give you and share with you today about the things that I've done to get to where I am. Yeah, I can unlock like, oh yeah, we have this, step-by-step process and we do this. And like people always want to tell you about packaging and pricing. And I'm like, that's not what got me here. I was like lit waist high, neck deep in packaging, pricing, strategy, marketing, copywriting, all the things, right? How to do ads, all that stuff, class after class after class, and still struggling to make money in my business. When I unlocked the energetics of wealth, when I unlocked this calibration stuff that I'm talking about, all of the things that I'm sharing, that I constantly share over and over again, that seems simple. This is what smart people need. Smart people don't need more strategy. You can Google that stuff. It's Googleable. But what's necessary is understanding why things come your way, the awareness of the lessons, the God winks that God's sending you every step of the way of what's possible for you. So that's my thing for today. I want to share this. I told you I would go a little bit deeper into Play Big, so I am. So inside of Play Big, which is one of my most popular programs, I will be showing 30 leaders how to expand in their leadership, but also how to expand in their sales, wherever you are. So typically what happens in Play Big is the goal is to take what you've done in an entire year and do it in 90 days or less. That's what we're looking at doing. And here's the deal. It doesn't just happen from strategy. I'm going to tell you what it's a mixture of. The money is not the best part. It's the person that you become, the leader that emerges. That's the real golden ticket. This is not a how-to program. A lot of people are always looking for how. It's a mentorship program. It is a powerful container that holds you to the highest frequency of your own power. Listen, you don't need someone to tell you what to do. You know how to do that. You're a badass at that. But what you do need is a mirror reflecting back to you your greatness, the greatness that you already know that you have. What you need is an energetic place to attune to our calibration that ensures that you don't keep fluctuating up and down when it comes to your power, or falling in and out of your power, or turning on and off your own power. When you look at my highest level clients who are achieving like super, super well, there is a noticeable shift that occurs in every single one of them. And when you look at them now, like some of you know some of them, but you may not know all of them, they are powerful leaders. They weren't always that way. I mean, it was always there in them, but life had stripped it away. And what happens is when I become that mirror reflecting back, they are able to stand in the truth of that power, consistently holding that resonance and that alignment more often than they were able to before, instead of dipping out of it, in and out of it, in and out of it, and having all of these cycles. And that's what their next level clients become attracted to, right? We don't struggle when we're in our highest level of power. We struggle when we're outside of it. And so Play Big is the space where you tap into that next level version of you. The level of you, the version of you that you know is already there, but for some reason, you can't stay on top of that particular identity that you hold for yourself, right? I call it identity recoding. Inside of Play Big, we not only see you as that version of yourself, but that's all we know and see of you, no matter what's going on in life and in your business, which is what allows you to be able to hold it. Here it is. We kick off July 29th. The bonuses, again, that are available to you if you sign up now or early is that you get private coaching with me until the program starts. You also get a private intensive with me, which is actually a half day intensive. It's 2.5 hours. So it's not just like an hour-long session or a 90-minute session. I call them momentum intensives. That's also a bonus for you that you will receive as well. And if you need it, because sometimes we want the cash flow option, right? As opposed to putting a lump sum in, we want to be able to like calculate the cash coming in and cash going out. There is an extended payment plan available, so you can do a 6-pay instead of a 3-pay. That extended payment option goes away May 31st. So if there is a tug and you feel like one of these spots could be yours, message me to apply. Okay, what will happen is you're going to message me. I'm going to shoot you over like 5 quick questions right away that are like quick screening questions for me. They're not, how you answer it doesn't determine right away that I'm not going to invite you into Play Big, but it just lets me know where you are. And then if we're going to move to the next step, I'll let you know. If we're not, I'll let you know. And then we'll move on from there. Inside of Play Big and in my world, we focus on 3 things. The first thing is embodied leadership, because when you own all of who you be, that is when you get to have everything you desire, all of it. The life, the business, the love, all of everything you desire is when you are walking in embodied leadership of self. The second thing we focus on is intentional strategy. So not just anything. And most of what I do is organic marketing and sales that allows you to call in your highest level of clients. And then the third thing that we focus on is what I've kind of talked about today. I'm giving you some peeks into this quantum energetics, right? Wealth energetics, calibrating to the frequency of your next level of wealth. Any place that you play with me, no matter what level of program it is a no excuse zone. And what I'm doing right now is I'm giving you an invitation to walk in your highest level of power, the highest frequency of power for yourself. Inside this powerful container, I will share with you how the things that changed the game for me, and I'm going to walk you through that work. So again, it's $10,500. There's a 6 payment option available. There's a 3 payment option available. You've got a couple of 3 bonuses that are available right now. And all you have to do is message me, Shameca, I'm ready to play big. That's it. Here's what I want to tell you. As you walk this journey of courage, of becoming and getting to your next level, remember timing doesn't belong to you. That belongs to God. But don't forget to celebrate every step of the way. Every little thing, it doesn't matter what it is. Just keep going and keep celebrating. If you do a launch and only 1 person shows up, celebrate the 1 as if it were 100, right? If you do a masterclass and you make 20 sales, but you wanted to make 50, celebrate the 20 as if you made the 50. That is the game changer. That is what changed the game for me and allowed me to collapse time over and over and over again. Are we in 2022? Thank you, whoever that is. Yeah, this is our last round in 2022. I don't know why. I'm like in a time warp most of the time with days of the week, years. People just laugh. They're like, Shameca, that's not what you meant. So yeah, it's our last round for 2022. We start again. What's the date? June 29th. Is our start date, or July. It's not June. It's July 29th is when we start. All right, loves, I'm going to take off. I got to take my son to go get a fitting for an outfit that he needs for the Saturday. I hope this inspired you and empowered you, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Mwah. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment, like right now. I'm not going to stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment.